by just noticing the breath, how the mat feels under the feet, or how our feet feel on top of the mat, our legs, back. Just getting a moment or two to sort of arrive. As the breath cycle begins to slow, hopefully you can notice the air as it enters the nose, including a brief pause before you start the exhale out of the nose as well. So as we begin to develop a more focused breath, you might bring your left hand to rest on your chest, right hand under the belly button. Just notice how the air enters the body, how the air exits the body. You may feel the hand on the chest lifting. At the top of the inhale, maybe even the collarbones lift, energizing upwards. On the exhale, feel the energy return to the mat through the body, through the legs, through the feet. You can even gently press the belly hand in towards the back of the pelvis, belly button towards the spine. So as you become more coordinated in your inhales, the pauses, the exhales, your breath cycle comes into play, becomes a little more improved. We can finish cultivating the Ujjayi breath by bringing space to the back of the throat and the sound, deep sigh, an ocean wave. And then we can go ahead and bring our hands down to the sides and start bringing a little more breath and body movement together. So just returning to our mountain here, just feeling a little more energized. On the next inhale, imagine that energy drawing once more through the feet, through the legs, to the crown of the head, upwards. And on the exhale, the shoulders rolling back and down, energy returning through the body down to the mat. Palms facing forward. Let's start to roll the center of our gravity towards the toes with the next inhale. And with the next exhale, we're just going to feel that center of gravity rolling towards the heels. And as we explore that toe to heel muscle memory of the foundation, just see how that translates to the rest of the body. Meeting somewhere back at center, near to the heels, sink back into the mountain. Let's reset, inhaling nice and tall. Mountain just gets a little taller, a little stronger. And then we're going to inhale with that energy lifting us through the crown of the head till we exhale over towards the right edges of the feet. Fully on that one side. We can inhale back up to center and then exhale over and use a 3-part breath to find that horizontal mapping of the feet. Or you could just use the 2-part breath. Inhale from one side, then exhale to the other. But once you find that horizontal mapping, we'll go ahead and find center somewhere at the tops of the feet. Settling in once more, inhale nice and tall. And we're making that energized lifting movement as we just rotate at the ankles while we're still lifting. It might be a little jagged, might be really nice and smooth. Just notice how it is today. See if the distribution of weight at the feet changes as you're making those radiating circles larger and larger to that edge. And once you find that, then you can tighten in the circles. Notice how that center of gravity hopefully returns right at the top of the feet, near to the heels. We'll do this one more time, inhaling nice and tall, but this time go into the opposite direction, radiating small circles until you can find that perimeter at the sole of the feet. And just notice how it's playing out through the body. Tighten in the circles once you've identified the perimeter. We'll meet back at mountain. You can go ahead and lift the legs individually, rolling the toes, rolling the heels, doing anything to release any type of grip to the mat, making sure our feet are right underneath our hips and just a little taller. In our mountain, we're going to our standing balance, hip opening, hip lubrication. So nice and tall on the inhale. Bringing standing weight to the left leg. We're going to find that center of gravity. Once that's available to us, we can lift the sole of the right foot. If that balance is good, go ahead and start bringing movement to the leg as a whole, just rocking it forward and back. If your balance is off, just cultivate the balance. Lift the sole of the foot and just try to stay balanced on one leg. Once we find that lubricated area of the right hip, we can rest the right leg. Then inhale once more, standing weight to the left leg. We're going to bend the right knee and just go inward towards the left leg and make an outer rotation towards the outer right side. A total of 4 of these, just so that we can see how our hips are open, or maybe in my case, tighter than usual. Just something to notice. We'll go ahead and bring standing weight again once we're done with that. Standing weight to the left side, and this time reversing the direction, outer to an inner rotation, and explore your movement today. All righty, we'll go ahead and let that right leg land. And if you have any activated muscles still in that left side of the body, kick it out forward and to the side before you cross that midline. Do whatever feels good. Maybe it's in the upper body, maybe it's in the leg. Alrighty, returning to our mountain, we'll come to the other side, bringing standing weight tall in our mountain. Standing weight here now on the right side, right leg, and then finding that balance. We can lift the left sole of the foot and continuing on. If that balance is there, then we can move the left leg and just bring a little bit of movement to the left hip. Oil it up a little bit and let that left leg land. When you're done, after a couple of breaths, a few breath cycles, and then we'll return to mountain, bring standing weight once more to the right side, and continue on with the hip rotation. So bending the left knee, inner to an outer, and allowing the left leg to return. Total of 4 of these, just to see how wide our hip is opening. And then we can return to standing in our mountain and finishing off the other set in the opposite direction. Inhaling, standing weight to the right leg, outer to inner. And sometimes the movements might be very big and strong. If you've had a lot of activity, maybe it's best to go a little softer, a little smaller. And then we'll return to our mountain once more. And as we go up the body in our warm-ups, we can move up to the shoulders now. Feel the legs a little longer, a little taller, pelvic bowl, just slightly pressing forward, tucking under the pelvic bowl right there. Imagine, if you will, just gently lengthening up through the body so that now with the shoulders we can relax the arms, and with the next inhale, bring the shoulders up towards the ceiling, and then on the exhale, roll them back and down. See if they can melt into the mid-back by the bottom of the exhale. And as you're inhaling, lifting the shoulders, feeling that energy, lifting maybe to that crown of the head point, the point of the crown of the head, where the energy seems to be returning to the cosmos, and as it returns to the earth on the exhales. I think I'm putting in an extra one here. Let's go ahead and reverse the order. Our second set, inhale, nice and tall, shoulders up and forward on the exhale this time. Total of 4 here. See if you can use those deep ujjayi breaths. Lifting the collarbones at the top of the inhale. Engaging the core at the bottom of the exhale. All right, and then moving up to the throat and the neck. Nice and tall, palms facing forward. Definitely inhaling to feel that reach all the way through the crown of the head. And then exhale, allow the right ear to dip towards the right shoulder. Space about a tennis ball size space underneath the ear. Just getting that nice long stretch to the left side. And if you haven't already, turn the gaze on the exhale. And we're here for a total of 4 breath cycles. Maybe our sight will land, our vision will land resting at the rightmost side. And when you're done with your last exhale, go ahead and bring the eyes on the inhale back up to center, completely lifting at the top of the inhale. So all you have to do is dip on over with the exhale to the left side. Inhale to lift the chest, exhale to turn the gaze. Hopefully the shoulders, hips, heels, all those horizontal points are still in line with one another with their partnered side, and you can just relax. Feeling the stretch in the right side of the neck, maybe even the eyes as you rest on the leftmost side by the last exhale. Let's go ahead and bring the eyes, the head, completely back up with the next inhale. And then let the exhale guide the eyes downward, resting at the top of the mat. Feel that very nice long line from the base of the neck all the way through to the crown of the head. A diagonal, slight diagonal tilting forward with each inhale. And with the exhale, so shoulders still melting down the back. Hopefully palms facing forward. The chin is not resting on the chest. A lot of space there as well. And after the last exhale, let's go ahead and bring the eyes back up past the center. And when you can rest at the ceiling, go ahead and just stop craning the neck and let the front of the throat and the neck open at the front. Maybe a small O opening with the mouth to a larger O. Maybe just a gentle swaying of the lower jaw from side to side. Total of 4 deep breath cycles here. And after your last exhale, we'll inhale the gaze back to center. And go ahead and shake out anything in the arms and the hands, and we'll start our sun salutations modified. We'll start with our first forward folds. So just energizing the arms downward. We're going to inhale the arms up, reaching upward at the top of the inhale. Engage the core, hinge at the hips, and float on down. Coming down with the long back, we can even walk the hands down if we need, but we're just slowly unfolding for our first ragdoll. First and only, actually. We're here for about 5 deep breath cycles. If you've been doing a lot of sitting, a lot of activity, you might be stiff in the lower back, in the backs of the legs. Backs of the legs can benefit from having deeply bent knees. And as you straighten out with each iteration, you might be able to get a little more length as you move along in your practice. But just little bits at a time, especially if you've been active. Next thing is think about the weight of your head. Are you holding on to the head? See if you can release any neck muscles, any arm muscles. Should be feeling that hip to heel center of gravity, and just allowing the tailbone down the spine, down the neck, and down the center of the crown of the head to just relax with the help of gravity. You can always gently nod the head no and yes, and just let it dangle like a plum weight. And if you need, you can always bring the forearms to the thighs for a little extra support. Just depends on how your fold is unfolding today. So,
Speaking of which, we'll go ahead and come out with a slow roll up. If your arms are in contact with the floor, your shins, your ankles, your thighs, you're just pressing gently on that area as you slowly start to lift each vertebra into an upright position, walking the hands up if you need. And as we do the slow roll up, imagine the last thing to stack is the head on top of the neck. Palms just unfurling forward, and let the blood rush back to the head. We'll do one more fold, a little shorter time. Reaching downward, let's inhale the arms, extend them upwards. Reach up at the top of the inhale. Exhale, fold. See if your legs can be a little longer, but keep that bend if you need. Fold all the way down. Maybe an alternate bend of one knee and then the other. You can lift the toes, you can lift the heels alternately. But find that center of gravity once more from the hips to the heels. One more deep breath cycle. And then you can come up with a straight back, but engage the core definitely. Inhaling, pressing into the feet, firming up the legs. You can come up with a strong back and long arms, reaching all the way up, or that slow roll up as well. And at the top, we're going to bring the hands down heart center. Relaxed arms and elbows at the side. Let's inhale, pressing into the palms. Lift the right foot and start our walking meditation. Right foot down. Inhale, left foot up. Exhale, left foot down. Remember, if you feel wobbly, you can always press into the hands. Re-engage the core. Sometimes that just helps to bring you back into balance. And when you reach the top of the mat, go ahead and look down at the fingertips. Inhale, press into the palms. And at the top, we'll separate the palms and exhale, hinging at the hips for our third fold. Fully exhaled here. Let's inhale for a half lift. In here, see if you can spin the sits bones back. Lengthen from the tailbone down to the heels in one direction, and then from the tailbone all the way through the crown of the head in the second direction. You might have a 90-degree angle here at the hips. You might have more of a 45-degree angle, but just try to find that length in the back. Go ahead and exhale back to the fold. Step the hands to place the hands to either side of the feet and step a right foot back. Step a left foot back. And now inhale the shoulders over the hands, and then bring down the knees. Untuck the toes and situate your modified high plank. As the shins are down and tops of the feet are down, those are bearing more of the weight than the knees. And you're hopefully just over the shoulders. If you feel you're exceeding the point of the shoulders over the wrists, then just back the shoulders a little behind so you're right over your wrists. And then one more deep inhale. We'll go ahead and tuck the toes, lift the hips, and exhale. Push the hips back into your first down dog. Now, if you need to, you can widen the stance between your feet as well as the distance between the feet and the hands. You want to have an upside down V, and hopefully your head isn't sticking out somewhere here in a high plank kind of area, but more somewhere in between the upper arms. So you might have to make an adjustment. You know, sometimes if you've especially been active, walking a lot, you'll be a little stiffer. So maybe it's not as deep of a down dog today as it usually is. Maybe your heels are a little lifted more than usual. So just give yourself some time to release. The first down dog is pretty lengthy. It's about 5 full deep breath cycles. And you're just focusing on feeling out the dog. You might need to bend one knee and then the other, walking the dog. You might need to roll onto the tips and re-establish the upside down V, slowly exhaling the heels downward, seeing if the V that's upside down becomes more of a V-like shape. So either way, after your 5th breath cycle, we can go ahead and look to the hands with the eyes, and then exhale, fold. Bring the hands back to the back of the mat. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, come up with a strong back with the inhale, core engaged, or with a slow roll up. Your choice. Coming all the way back up to mountain, hands overhead. We can exhale, hands down, heart center for our second walking meditation. Inhale, right foot up. Exhale, right foot down. Inhale, left foot up. Exhale, left foot down. Inhaling and exhaling. One step per breath cycle. And at the top of the mat, look down, press into the palms, watch it rise with the inhale. Separate the palms and hinge at the hips. Engage the core, fully exhaled here. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, place the hands at either side of the feet and step a right leg back and the left leg back. Inhale, shoulders over the wrists, a nice long, strong plank. Feel that energy from the heels all the way through to the crown of the head. Nice, strong diagonal. And at the same time, pressing into those extended arms, shoulder blades protracting away from the spine. And then let's go ahead and inhale, hips up. Exhale, press into the arms so you can bring the hips back into your second dog. Maybe the heels are a little lower. Maybe they're right where they were before. Whatever it is, just notice any differences. Inhaling and exhaling, 3 good deep breath cycles for this round. And again, making sure your neck is safe, bringing the eyes on that very last exhale. Bring the eyes to the hands and with an inhale here. And then exhale, walk the hands to the back of the mat to your fold. Stepping back if you need. Fully exhaled here. Let's inhale, half lift. Looking down at the mat and then fold once more. Inhale, let's go ahead and bring the arms out. Engage the core, come on up with a strong back. Exhaling hands, down, heart center. And finally down to the sides. Just let the heartbeat and the blood rush back to the head. And it's a great time for a little bit of water if you got a little winded there. It's a little warmer for me in my house, but in here as well at the ACC community room, it's a little warmer than usual. So if you need a little water, that's great. We're going to go ahead and move next into our hip opening. So bringing that chair nearby. We're going to use this also at the end. But you have 2 options to do your very modified hip opener in a low lunge. You can either use the chair, and again, the chair should be at least 2 feet onto the mat if you're on a slippery area like the linoleum floor. If you're on carpet, you should be fine. But you're just basically starting off with the right leg bending forward as the left hip is opening. We're using the back of the chair to hold on to with our right arm. Maybe the left hand holds on to the seat some as well. But for some of us, bringing ourselves into opening this left hip, it's just a matter of coming into this sort of form with the help of the chair as a prop. Now, if you're a little further along in your practice for the low lunge opener, you might be using the blocks. So I hope you're there doing that. And I always recommend starting off sort of with the blocks at this high end and just bringing yourselves down to a bent right knee and then bringing that shin down and walking this hand up or this right foot up. And so you'll have that right angle of the right knee as you're trying to open up the left hip. You'll have the use of the blocks to help open up. If you have a good opening here and your torso is upright, it's as if you're in that chair where you're hopefully sitting upright and eventually perpendicular to the seat. So we're breathing there for a while. Now, if you're still opening up and finding that left hip is just a little too flexed and not in a neutral position, we're just focusing on pressing a little bit into the top left foot. The left foot that's down on the mat and the left shin is sort of our support more than the left knee. We're just trying to lift up and forward just a little bit to open that left hip. The right foot is firmly down on the floor. And when we're done here, we've gone through our 3 to 5 breath cycles. And if you want to go a little extra, well, you're just being a little extra. That's okay. When you're ready to come out, we'll just tuck that left foot if you're down on the mat, and And we'll just start to walk this left foot forward, bending the right knee if we need, and bringing ourselves back into a manageable position. And we can go ahead and either walk the right foot back for our second set, or you can turn around as I'm about to do when I go to demonstrate that. But if you are on the chair, let's go ahead and bring this back up. We'll start again here. Now we're just turning to the other side. And go ahead, if you know your low lunge, how you like to get into that, go ahead and move into it. If you like a little more instruction, here's a cue. Bringing the left knee to bend, sitting down on the left sit bone to allow the right hip to open up. Left arm is holding onto the back of the chair, right hand somewhere maybe around that seat area as well. Sometimes we're just only able to get the knee to sort of come into a perpendicular position. I don't even think mine is really. But if it's really tight, this might even be troublesome. So just opening up this right hip, either hip, to a neutral position is what we're looking for. So you can work on that. You might need to be on the tips of the toes, the balls of the foot. You might be in some version of this until you can finally just open up. And when you're done using the chair to help you, eventually you'll be using maybe the blocks or just getting into that position. And again, when you're down, opening up this hip with a little more focus on just the hip, having the arms supported by blocks, having the prop of the chair. It sometimes is a little easier to focus in on those areas. And 3 to 5 breath cycles on this side as well. So if you've been here for a while, all you need to do is tuck the back of the foot, lift up this right knee, and walk the right foot back and the left foot back into a fold position perhaps, and walking the hands back up, standing if you need to do something, or just coming all the way back down to the mat. We're moving our way down to the mat and having some hip openers, shoulder openers, and keeping this chair nearby. Because one of the nice things about this chair, without the arms on it too, is you can use this to just rest your calves. As we're going into Shavasana, oftentimes we've talked about having a bolster under the knees. This will be nice there. So we'll go ahead and bring that somewhere near there. But for now, we're going to move our body onto the floor and get into some hip openers. So sitting down in a staff position, we'll begin by just simply feeling where the hips, the pelvic bowl is situated underneath our spine. So you can tilt the tops of the pelvic bowl forward, feeling as if the bottom of the pelvic bowl is kind of sticking out as the top of the hips are moving forward. And then you can also think about your thighs, whether they're rotating outwards. We need them. See if you can try to get them rotated, oriented towards the ceiling. You might need to rotate some flesh, remove some flesh around the glutes. And then as you feel that nice lengthening between the hips and the heels, then you can relax. And hopefully you're in a somewhat centered towards the ceiling position. We'll go ahead and bring the left knee to bend, and the sole of the left foot slides up the inner right leg. Now, depending on how tight your hips are, you might have this left knee lifted, and it can maybe eventually lower to your edge as you need, or you may need a block. I'm like pointing towards that block, but I can't quite reach it without unbending my knee. So let me bring that over. And coming in, sometimes it's just a matter of letting that block help you out a couple of breaths. We're wanting the spine, I forgot to mention that, but inhaling it forward, up, and then sinking it into the pelvic bowl. Just noticed it. mentioned the pelvic bowl, but we also want that spine directly at this perpendicular positioning to the bowl. With the left hip opening with the help of the supported block, or maybe just gravity. Eventually, we're finding that sweet spot for our first edge. The heel location to its proximity to the groin, that's really going to determine the opening of the hip. So if you find that it's a little too much for you, you could always lower the position of the sole of the left foot along that inner leg of the right side. So we'll go ahead and just sit here once we find that sweet spot. Feel that good deep inhale and exhale, the breath cycle like an ocean wave for about 5 good deep breath cycles. You're welcome to rest your hands with the palms up, palms cupped together. We're hoping by the 5th breath, your left hip is feeling a little more open. As you finish that last breath cycle, we'll go ahead and help guide this left knee back up. You may need to lean back a little bit. You may need to roll a little on the right hip. But you're going to help bring this left knee up before you extend. As you bring it closer to this upright position, you can extend, and hopefully that will be a little easier on your hips. If you notice any impingement, any hitching, catching on that ridge there along the pelvic bowl. We'll move to the other side now. So resituate the distribution of weight on the sits bones. And then we can go ahead and open up on this right side. Bending the right knee. And again, sliding it to where it might feel good. And that is sometimes a slow exploration. I like to give at least 3 breath cycles to 5. Sometimes you will be surprised. Just need a little time to find that. When you find that special spot, then you can focus on breathing. 5 good deep breath cycles here. Sometimes the warmth of your hands, especially if you have warm hands, just placing them at the ankle, gently hovered above the knee. You can warm your joint areas here just by the heat of your own natural body's warmth. And focusing on the ocean breath. You may be surprised that by the last exhale, something just releases in the right leg, hip area. When you're ready to come out, we'll go ahead and lean back a little bit, lean over, help to guide our right knee back up before we extend the right leg long. And go ahead and tap out both of the legs, pointing the toes gently, pressing out through the heels, flexing the feet gently, and then just allowing a gentle waving from outer rotation to inner rotation. Nothing too hard, just some counter stretching. And then I'm going to turn around for the benefit of perspective. We'll be moving into a seated butterfly with a stretch to the shoulders. So here is a good time to grab your strap, if you like to use that to kind of wrap around your ankles as you're kind of stretching the arms at that last half of our seated butterfly. Bring up your blocks if you need those to kind of support those knees. If you have tight hips, the knees might just need that extra support. So finding that good spot, I'm almost about to fall off of the edge. So keeping our our feet together, soles of the feet together. We're going to start with that diamond shape and eventually move into the butterfly. We're just inching that in. Now, sometimes it's good to just figure out one spot that you can maintain. That's finding that edge, giving yourself the time to see if that's your true edge. If you went in too intensely, you can always back out. And today, my butterfly is more of a diamond shape as opposed to the butterfly shape, simply because of my activities lately. So consider yours. And then make your props whatever feels good. You can use the strap. It seems like I could use a little more length today. And once we find that seated upright edge, then we're going to inhale nice and tall from the tailbone, through the spine, neck, through the crown of the head, that lifting string, lifting all the way up at the top of the inhale. And then we're going to exhale, start to move the chest forward, hinging at the hips, walking the hands forward until we stop hinging at the hips. And then we can go ahead and curve the upper shoulders, relax the neck. And this is where we're folding in our seated position in butterfly now. We're just going to sit here, give ourselves some time. Does the neck need to be supported? If you can just have the neck dangle gently, gravity will help loosen it, hopefully. But if that doesn't feel good, you can always help to support, bringing the forearms to the thighs and feeling that gentle activation from the spine, tailbone, spine, through the crown of the head, if the neck needs just a little more support and you're not in that position where you can fold and support your head with your hands. Just depends on where we are. And you're breathing then from this point in this folded butterfly. And breathing 5 good deep breaths here. And after you're done with your very last breath cycle, we'll go ahead and inhale. Start to feel that energy lengthening from the tailbone through the spine and the crown of the head. Once more, bring the hands out in front of you. Lengthen through the torso and walk the hands upwards so that you can bring the torso upright, back in our seated position. And if you still have those straps there, go ahead and bring the hands, both of them, or both straps in one hand, or both straps in both hands. We're just leaning back. And as you can tell, we're lengthening through our spine, trying to get that length in the back, and then extend through the arms. Now, if you're holding on to the straps, that's getting a nice stretch all the way at the tops of the traps, all the way through the arms, if you can lengthen. If you're holding on to the materials of your leggings, the shins, maybe it's the ankles, you're still getting that lengthening by just gently leaning back. You're not really pressing too hard. You're just allowing the weight of your body to lean backwards. And you'll find that the only activation in the arms, hopefully in that arm area, are the fingers, just kind of hooked around the ankles, the material, the shins, or that strap. You're feeling hopefully the opening in the upper shoulders, the shoulder blades moving away from the spine, and hopefully just a relaxed protraction. It's almost as if just gently stretching, leaning back is protracting the shoulder blades away from the spine without any activated muscles in those shoulder blades doing that. And then we can go ahead and exhale, relax the arms, start to bring the torso back up to a seated upright position and release. Let the shoulders shake out the hands, wrists. Let the shoulders alternately roll them. Let them release. Do what movement feels good to release through those shoulders. And then we're going to remove the blocks if you had any, the straps. And then we're going to turn to the side and bringing the chair to the very edge here, we will start incorporating a base bridge position with the help of this chair. I should probably get the two legs up here. And all you need to do is bring one elbow down at a time and then start to inch the hips down towards the chair. Eventually, we're just looking for a support for the calves, maybe the ankles, but we're almost like in that base bridge position. The spine is aligned with the neck is aligned with the spine. And if you just bring the calves to rest on this chair, and if you don't have the chair, that's okay, just stay in your base bridge position. We're just allowing our back to feel supported. Remember when we come onto our bellies for the first time after being seated or standing for a while, it feels really nice to be supported by the back or when you're on the back or on the hips when you're on your belly. Just it's something to savor. Now make sure any folded skin is not pinched. And then we'll go ahead and bring our base bridge pose into a figure four. So if you have your feet down on the floor, we're just lifting the right knee, externally rotating this right thigh, bending the right knee so we can land the right ankle on this left knee thigh area. If your legs are on the chair like this, it's just something like that. Now, we don't want to rest our right foot on top of the kneecap. It should be on the thigh portion, right before that kneecap. So, you know, if you're having trouble doing that, we might just be working on bringing maybe the right sole of the foot to touch the left calf. That might be something to consider. I don't know how everyone is here, but hopefully we're moving towards a figure four, either in our base bridge position or with the help of this chair. And we're opening up this right hip with that base bridge position. And if we've got the figure four base here, we're open, we're not feeling as if the sacrum is rolling to one side. We want to make sure that there's even distribution on the sacrum, on the back, lower back there. We're not rolling towards the right. And if that's good, then you can go ahead and bring that strap if it's nearby, or your hands around the thigh, the material around the thigh if you need. But we're just going to bring this left leg into more of a 90-degree angle in relationship to the pelvic bowl so that we can extend through the left leg. And again, this is another part of our figure four where we're just working on opening up. If you notice that the right knee starts to wing inward towards the chest, you can maybe keep the left leg bent and just work on opening the right hip. The extension of the left leg is just if we're here with the base being good in our figure four, we can bring that left leg and just bring the arms or the strap around this left thigh and relax. Give yourself at this point 5 to 10 breath cycles. And if your left leg tires, you can always bend the left knee and rest the left leg on the chair or in the base bridge position. Again, we're opening up the hips and getting some stretching and release in other parts of the body as is available to us. And keeping the deep ocean breath. Hopefully each breath cycle will be like an ocean wave. And as you approach your very last breath cycle, start to wiggle the left toes, gently roll the ankle in one direction and then the other. And then we'll release the left thigh, whether it's use of strap, material around the thigh, or just the fingers clasped. We'll let the left leg return either to the chair or to the base bridge position on the floor, feet on the floor. Internally rotating this right hip before we extend through the right leg, as usual. There we go. And then give yourself a little bit of counter stretching time. If both your calves are on this chair, you can give yourself nice rolling ankles, toes. If you're in the base bridge, you can do the same as well. Just come up on the heels gently. You can roll on the edges of the feet. Give yourself a gentle windshield wipe if you're in the base bridge position. There's a lot of things you can do to kind of release those muscles you've just been using. Sometimes it's as simple as that. Now, as we come to the other side, we're going to go ahead and bring now the left knee to rest on the right thigh knee area. So as we're doing that, think about externally rotating the right hip and then bringing the left ankle to the right thigh. And again, we're not placing the left heel on the right kneecap. We want it on the thigh portion. As we're finding how that translates through the body. Sometimes in transition, you'll start rolling your body. So notice if you need to roll back to center. And as you're here, finding that edge, right before we extend through the right leg, we're wanting to make sure this left hip is feeling good and open, not too intensely open. You can always back out if it's a little too much. Not torquing this left knee, the knee as it's bent, wanting to have this slight flexion to the foot. And if that's good for you now, we've had about 3 to 5 breaths at least to get to this first edge, then we can finalize and bring our hands, the strap, somewhere around the strap. Our fingers can clasp behind our thigh. Whatever we need to do to bring this right thigh bone into that 90-degree angle, and then we can finish off by extending the leg if we want to. You don't have to. You can always, if you're feeling good and you just want to explore that, because that's where you are in your practice, you can. These other extensions for the fully expressed, that's just something if you feel like going that extra mile. And you'll notice how it feels in your body. Sometimes you might feel like you can do that, but when you get there, you're thinking, that's a little too intense, and you back out and you come back out. You might notice things like you rolling on the side of your hip. You may notice shoulders lifting. Those are all signs that maybe it's a little too intense. The last few breath cycles, especially after you found your final, positioning, should be one of ease and comfort, where you can feel things slowly releasing and peeling away. So after that very last breath, let's go ahead and come on out. We'll go ahead and release the hands, bring that right leg into the base bridge position or that support on the chair. And then we're going to bring the left hip back in towards the center before we extend through that left leg. And again, if you're on the chair with the prop of the chair supporting the calves, you can go ahead and just make some movements, gentle, small movements. If you're in the base bridge, again, you can roll. Maybe your windshield wipes are a little faster this time. And as we're moving towards Shavasana, we're just going to lengthen the legs. And if you have that chair, hopefully you can just press it, push it away just slightly so you can bring the legs down long. Now, we've been flexing the hips for a bit, so it might take you some time to open up. So give yourself, 3 to 5 breath cycles or so. You might need to gently tap out the knees. Once you start opening up and feeling comfortable in your Shavasana positioning, make any last minute moves. I'm going to be sitting up, mind the time. And the purpose of Shavasana, as you know, is just to help the body find that space to respond. So maybe the legs are nice and relaxed. You can have them together, you can have them rolling apart, feet pointed towards the corners of the mat. You can have the palms up or down, just depends on how that feels on your shoulders. And again, if the lower back is giving you problems, having that folded blanket at the small of your back, right here, that really sometimes can help. And if you want to have the benefit of the chair to support the legs, and hopefully you can bring the chair back up. And you're just going to lay down once more with the calves here, like we were just a little bit ago. And you can just relax. Your knees hopefully are right under your hips if you're using the chair. And you may really want a rolled up blanket at the small of your back if your legs are lifted this high up. But either way, getting comfortable, letting the belly feel soft, allowing the tongue to release from the roof of the mouth. We're going to have a 5-minute Shavasana after a brief guided meditation. It's like a guided meditation where I'm just going to go through a few body parts. Whatever body part is named, you can go ahead and just relax it a little bit and just mentally make the note of relax. You don't actually have to move anything. It's just bringing that intention to help you transition into Shavasana. So as you slowly start to relax and the breath is getting quieter, bring the attention to the crown of the head. Just see if you can relax the crown of the head 1% more. Allow a softness at the brow. Next, moving to the throat. See if you can relax the base of the throat 1% more. Allow the right shoulder to relax, the right elbow, right wrist, right hand, right arm, and returning to the center of the chest. See if you can relax the center of the chest 1% more. Relax the left shoulder, left elbow, left wrist, left hand, left arm. Relax the chest, the back of the chest, and the belly button. Allow the pubis to relax, the right hip, the right knee, right ankle, and right foot, right leg, and again, the pubis. Allow it to relax. Let the left hip relax, left knee, left ankle, left foot,
left leg. Allow the pubis to relax, the belly, the chest, the throat, the center of the forehead, and finally allow the crown of the head to relax. Let the whole body relax. And for the next 5 minutes, the body will respond until you hear the 3 bells. Bringing the mind back to the body, taking note of sounds outside the room, sounds within the room, and finally back to the breath. Notice how the air enters the body. Notice how it exits the body. Now, as you become reconnected to the body vessel once more, I invite you to gently wiggle your fingers, toes. If your legs are on the chair, you can gently roll to one side in fetal position. And just give yourself a little bit of time to meet back in an upright position. Inhale through the left. Close. Exhale through the right. Inhale through the right. Close. Exhale through the left. Inhale through the left. Close. Exhale through the right. Inhale through the right. Close. Exhale through the left. Inhale through the left. Close. Exhale through the right. Last round. Inhale through the right. Close. Exhale through the left. Inhale through the left. Close. Exhale through the right. Go ahead and remove the right hand. Release the mudras. Allow the breath to return to its natural state. And hopefully we're back connected in time to say goodbye. So bring hands to heart center. Thank you so much for joining me here at Gentle Yoga at 1 p.m. Our last 1 p.m. class next week is at 2 p.m. Hope you have a wonderful week, and namaste. Whee! Bye. Oh, that was fun.